Yeah, well, completing the changes at the top here, Arn, with Eric in charge of television, Ole Anderson. He's brought back into WCW and put in charge of the wrestling product, including all the creative, matchmaking, and all the finishes. So Ole had owned and managed territories for years and was an alternative to the flamboyant style of the American Dream. And but buddy, you worked for both men. What similarities did Ole and Dusty share as far as booking philosophy, in your opinion?
Ole was hardcore, good versus evil. His roots were in the business of the late 70s, early 80s, I would say. Him and Gene obviously were a fixture in the industry that still lives today. So when you put Ole in, he used a lot of the principles that he had used when he was working with Gene and Top Guy, and he was the booker before for Jim Crockett Promotions in the Carolinas. And, some of that stuff was outdated, and go ahead.
I was going to say, did you have a preference as booker, Dusty or Ole?
Well, Dusty, I'm sure, had faith in me. And I was always a guy that Dusty could put in the first match or put me in on last with him and still get a quality performance, a main event match, and all the things that he needed out of me. And I think he knew that. I know he knew that. So I was happy anytime he was sitting in the saddle. I knew that I was at least going to have the opportunity to do what I knew well, and that's just get in the ring and wrestle and tell a story.
Dusty knew how to position you, take care of you, and he knew what he had in you, Arn. There's no doubt about it when he was booking.
Without it sounding, uppity, I know that he did. I know that he had confidence in me.
Our buddy Brad Stanton said, "Tell me 3 positive things about Ole as the booker. There's so much negativity."
3 positive things.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be 3, but just whatever jumps to your mind.
Well, there were those of us that Ole, when he was a performer, got our respect because he was a world-class heel. No matter what you say about, the negatives about Ole, about being grumpy and all those things, and maybe outdated at the time, the last run through, he was, some of his ideas were outdated. Those of us that were heels and aspired to be really good heels, you could watch Ole Anderson and his promos and his work in the ring and his thought process were excellent. I defy anybody to say that they weren't. They were when he was wrestling. But that doesn't necessarily carry over to when you're the boss. Because now you're trying to implement your thought process into another performer or into another finish or into, all the things that encompass. And some guys say that they see it the way you do and they go out and when they perform it, they didn't see it the same way at all. I didn't see a lot of negatives because, again, whatever he said do.
Right. And he did have, obviously, you knew he had a mind for the business. It's like you said, good versus evil, classic traditional booking style and storytelling. You just got to wonder, is he able to evolve with the times?
Well, apparently not enough.
Yeah.